It's a matter of the fact that being a public company, you have a responsibility to 29,000 people. If somebody puts a decent offer on the table, you have a fiduciary duty, you have a responsibility to put it to the shareholders to say, you make the decision. And that's effectively what we've done. The business is doing well, the business is growing. There's an argument that says, and that's certainly how we feel, that it's now the time to put the business into the hands of somebody with much deeper pockets that can really accelerate what we've done. We listed for exactly the same reason. We listed because the opportunity of what was going on in ICT in Kenya was just exploding and just getting massive and more and more massive. And so what we felt is that that was the time to list, to raise some capital, to build our fiber network, to roll out more services. And I guess in a way this is the common feeling now is this is now the next iteration to accelerate the business that much further. And I think Dimension Data bring a lot of value to the table in terms of they're a very big organization. They're a $6 billion company. They're owned by NTT rather, they're a $100 billion business, and they do a lot of services that we can bring into the Kenya market. And I believe it's their intention to invest further in this business and in the region to roll out more services to help build the infrastructure in Kenya.
Now, you used a term that you like to use, fiduciary duty, and some would argue that a few years ago, I remember, in fact, I think I owned shares at that point, and they were a multiple of what they are, and in fact, a multiple of what your recommendation is at 14 shillings. And some would say, why not try and bring back the share price to that level, and then try and figure out what to do with it, or try and find someone who would make an offer at the levels it was at, I think, 30 shillings and more at this time.
You know, the markets change. We can only look at the snapshot of where we are today on the basis of where we are. To some extent, obviously, there's market sentiment that sometimes will decide what the share price is. But, you know, I think we've looked at it with a very sane and a very business-minded view in terms of the price. And at the end of the day, our fundamental responsibility is that if somebody does put a decent offer on the table, we have to hand it over to the shareholders, and they have to make the decision.